This is Module 2 of the Effective Basic Project Management course. Let's talk about the Program and Project Management method. This is quite a complicated slide, but hopefully I can help make it clear for you. Let's discuss the management procedures, which are contained within the black box in the center of the screen. Management procedures start at the very top with the higher authority. This is often called the sponsoring group. It could be your group's executive or group leadership team. And the higher authority direct and manage a program of work. By directing and managing a program of work, the higher authority can approve a project. They can also do other things. They can terminate, suspend, or reinstate a project. And by approving a project, they give the ability to control and manage a project. Controlling and managing a project is often done by the project manager, and they, in turn, will help plan and often manage a department. They will work with work package teams to plan and manage those work packages. Equally, you'll see by the arrows that the feedback from each of these sections goes up and down. So information is conveyed up the tree from the work packages themselves, through the project managers, up through perhaps a program manager even, to the higher authority or sponsoring group. There are lots and lots of support procedures that surround these management procedures, and you can see that in the green boxes that surround the management procedures. These include such things as looking at risk management, issues management, change control, configuration management, quality processes, planning, reporting, stakeholders, communications, document management, benefit realization, and commercial procedures. Don't worry about remembering all these for now. We're going to cover all of them in due course. But before we do, let's just turn to the basics. So firstly, what is a project? A project essentially is a piece of work that has a clear start and an end date. This gives us a fixed duration with a defined set of objectives, deliverables, and a series of activities or tasks to achieve them, and the resulting business benefits or change that you want to realize or deliver as part of a temporary organization. So when we talk about a project manager, what is a project manager? Well, essentially, we are all project managers, as you might have found from exercise 1. Project management is very much based around common sense. But to be really effective project managers, we need a set of tools, techniques, and methodologies to assist us in managing a project on a day-to-day basis, to deliver the project's required objectives, deliverables, and benefits within the constraints agreed by the project's business case or project board. So what will the management of a project allow you to do? It's an activity that helps to seek the prioritization, the tracking, and the control of all related project activities from start to finish by overcoming difficulties and adapting to change by the use of respective tools and techniques that will lead your teams to achieve a project's outcome and objectives to time, to cost, and to quality within a project's agreed budget. So based on that, what are the core essentials for project success? Firstly, have clear goals. Secondly, gather commitment. Thirdly, plan and communicate. And finally, flexibility. Let's take a little bit more clarity at the basics. So as a project manager, you're responsible for the successful delivery of a project. A project manager has to do a number of things. They have to plan, they have to delegate, they have to monitor and control the project. And they do this in order to manage 3 essential components: time, cost, and quality, which is often referred to as the project management triangle. And they do this by the use of using culture, tools, accountability, and planning. Finally, they do that throughout the project's lifecycle of initiation, planning, directing, monitoring and controlling, and finally, closing. But you'll notice from the straight vertical business case line that the business case underpins all those elements of a project's life cycle. Once done, this achieves the project's objectives, which will give the project deliverables and therefore the project benefits. And that is what will realize the project's business case to the satisfaction of the project sponsor, its stakeholders, and its customers. So what are some of the key features of projects? We mentioned some of these already. A defined start and end date within a fixed duration is key to any project. As too is having an organized plan. It's simply a methodical approach stroke process to meet the set objectives and deliver a specific output. Another key feature of a project is having separate resources of time, people, and money. Another key feature of a project is teamwork. You need a dedicated temporary team of people defined into the respective work streams or work packages. They don't always have to be there full time, but they're there for the temporary duration of the project. You also need established goals, results, such as quality performance, KPIs or key performance indicators, SLAs, service level agreements. And ideally you should manage a project by stages or chunks or phases as they're sometimes known. And you do that to deliver a single output of change. Finally, projects should be project managed. Project managers or people managing projects have a single point of responsibility for a project's success. So briefly, we talked about the project management lifecycle. Let's have a look at it in a bit more detail. The lifecycle stages are here illustrated for you in black text. They include initiation, planning, directing, monitoring and controlling, and closing, with the business case aligned to each of those sections in turn. I'd now like to introduce you to what we call stage gates, or phases, or chunks. These are annotated on the slide in red. So, for initiation as a life cycle stage, we have the stage gates of identifying what is the project and justifying it. Why are we doing it? Under the planning life cycle stage, we have the stage gate of define. How do we define the project? Under the directing life cycle stage, we have the stage gate of doing, as too under monitoring and controlling. And finally, under closing life cycle stage, we have the stage gate or phase of closing, and most importantly, reviewing. But more about that later on. Let's start by looking at managing by stages. Stages are often preceded by gates, which are essentially decision points, and it's focused on overall risks of proceeding with the project against a defined set of criteria against the business objectives and risks. Here you can see the project management life cycle, the stage gates of identify, justify, define, do, close, and finally outcome or review. In projects, they're often called the post-implementation review or PIR. Between each stage gate, you will see a small gate. That's your decision point. So once you've done identify, for example, the decision must be made. Do you carry on and move to justify, or do you need to do some more work under identify? Equally, when you get to justify and you're ready to move into define, you stop and have a decision gate there to say, have we justified the project enough, and are we ready to move on to define? The only time we don't really have a gate is after the project is closed. As you can see, the project has been completed, but it's not fully completed until we have that outcome review, post-implementation review, or otherwise known as a PIR. The project status can be either proposed, in progress, suspended, terminated, or completed. We'll stop the video there, and please join us for the next module when we'll look at some of the key roles of project management.